What is your opinion?
With the keto diet?
Delicately saying.
Not a big fan, honestly.
Like,
In general, so is everybody familiar with what the keto diet is? Kind of, yeah. It basically, you're trying to limit your carbohydrates to about 5% of your caloric intake. So really only like 20 to 35 grams of carbohydrates a day. So that's really, really low. So, and the idea behind that is to get your body, instead of using glucose as fuel, they are trying to switch you over to using ketones as fuel. So basically, when you don't have those sugars in your body, so you don't produce as much insulin, and insulin is what takes all that glucose. So you eat something, the insulin takes that sugar where it needs to go in your body to fuel your body. So it'll take it to the muscles. And then if you have leftover sugars in your blood, it then stores those as fat because you don't need those right now. So the whole idea of the ketogenic diet is to prevent yourself from using glucose as fuel. And since you don't have any of that sugar in your body then has to start using those fats. It breaks down fat in the liver and uses ketones as fuel instead. The issue I have with it is it cuts out a lot of really good food. You're cutting out fruit, which is a really healthy food for you. And also, it tends to get, most people, the way they would do it, it tends to get pretty meat heavy. And honestly, I just don't think eating a lot of meat is healthy for you. There's been numerous studies showing that a high meat consumption leads to cancer and all sorts of other problems, colorectal cancer, heart disease. Meat is inflammatory. So, some meat in your diet's fine, but to really be concentrated eating like a lot of that type of food, I just don't think is good for you.
And I found the people that I've talked to who are doing keto, they don't take the time or spend the money to buy good high quality meats. So they're eating very cheap meats and it's just meat heavy. And I don't. And when I think of diet, automatically I think of restrictions, right? And a lot of these diets, you have to stay on it indefinitely, right? As soon as you go off of it, right, everything comes back. So I think everything in moderation, blah, blah, blah. All that. Because food is just so fun, guys, come on. And make it a lifestyle change. Pass that on down to your children. Make it just the way your family eats. That's the best advice I can give. Yeah. God put these foods on the planet for a reason, right?
And that's
they all
really
work
the biggest
together.
thing, I think, really. I mean, there's so many different types of diets you can try, but the biggest things really is eating real food.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's in a package and it had to be processed, I mean, you look at something like Cheetos, look at the ingredient list, and you don't recognize a single thing on there as an actual food. It's just kind of chemicals. Try to stay away from that stuff. Eat real foods. That's where you're really gonna have the problems, is when you're eating all of that kind of stuff. So whole food. I mean, the paleo diet's really, I don't think there's anything wrong with the paleo diet as much. It's still very ketogenic. It's a little bit more ketogenic, but they do allow you more carbohydrates. The one thing I don't like about the paleo diet is that they want you to stay away from grains and legumes and stuff. And I think legumes are extremely healthy for you. They're full of fiber. They're a good protein source. They've got a lot of healthy nutrients in them. So I don't think there's anything wrong with eating those kind of foods. Honestly.
That's our short answer.
Yeah.
No, I agree, but it's something that comes up, and it's tempting because they do create results.
Right, and it does.
Quickly, but
part of the reason
didn't
that it
know from a
creates
nutritional-
part of the reason that you're going to get results very fast when you cut out the carbohydrates is that you are going to get a little bit dehydrated. Because you're generally consuming more protein, and that's going to run through the kidneys faster. Your kidneys are going to be processing that, and you're going to pee a lot. And you're going to get rid of some water weight. So you might see results in like a day or two, but you're kind of getting rid of some bloating, you're getting rid of some water, you're probably not consuming as much fiber as you would have been.
And I assume your body kind of plateaus eventually. Does it not?
I mean,
I don't know. I've never known anybody who's done it long enough. To be honest.
it's just hard to.
They're hard diets.
I agree with you.
Generally, just think like I don't know if any of you are familiar with Dr. Furman, and I've got an article from him. Check out his website. He really is, like I talk about in here, a nutritarian, and his recipes are god awful. They are terrible. I have a couple of his cookbooks. I've picked and choose like a couple that I like. He recommends not cooking with oils and stuff, which I don't agree with. But he is really all about eating for nutrient density, and I like the concept of that. I think it's a really good concept to think about. Trying to get lots of fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds because they're so nutrient dense. And if you eat some other stuff here and there, but if you're really thinking about that, and if you're really trying to incorporate, instead of telling yourself, I can't have this, just trying to incorporate good foods into your diet, you'll start eating less of those things. So if you're just kind of being aware of like, this is really healthy. It's not that I can't eat meat, it's just that I'm gonna really try to make the crux of my meal really good stuff like this.
There's also a website called 100 Days of Real Food.
Oh, I
it's a
love that
local mom in
website.
Charlotte. Yeah.
I love that
and
website.
she has a book out that, it's a few years old now. Her girls were younger when she started it, where it can, based on your life and the age of your kids, how you can transition to eating whole and where you can buy and where you can make, and she kind of gives you all these ideas. Yeah, and she gives you a week of menus, breakfast, lunch, and dinner in that. So it's called 100 Days of Real Food.
It's good.
So it's a great way to start if you're trying to start moving towards whole food eating.
I found some great recipes, like
There's
how to
some
make
great
your own
recipes.
like tortillas and like lard bars and stuff like that. And I didn't realize how unbelievably easy tortillas are to make. I almost felt dumb because I just didn't realize how easy they. It's like 4 ingredients and they're like that, and then you have them in your fridge because like tacos galore, Oh my gosh, easiest thing. And because tacos are like tortillas are filled with like horrible things in them. And they're like one of the most processed things that you can buy, but you buy them all the time. You think they're healthy because they're this thick, but they're like one of the like most terrible things in the store. And then you can make them for like 4 ingredients. And
She had a Brussels
So
sprouts
easy.
recipe.
Cheese with fat in it, 'cause isn't it like
It's avocado oil.
made of lard, right?
it's avocado oil. So it's avocado oil, white whole wheat flour, water, and salt.
She had a,
Exactly. They're so easy.
she has a Brussels sprout recipe that my kids love. And
Granola
whoever heard of
recipes.
kids like in Brussels sprouts, right? All it
I know.
is,
Avery loves recipes.
2 pieces of bacon that you cook. So you have to be able to eat bacon, right? And then you throw the Brussels sprouts in there to saute it. Throw in a juice box of apple juice, right, or 100% apple juice, and let it simmer for a couple minutes. And my kids don't have juice boxes; they're not allowed. But I tell them there's juice in that thing, and they like. So they're getting a really good vegetable that's
Avery
good for
likes
them.
hash brown.
Yeah. Oh, I can eat.
Well, you guys, we want to thank y'all for coming.
Thank you.
We're both local, so I have business cards there. Reach out if you have other questions. We're happy to help you.
Yeah, and she makes a wonderful bone broth, by the way.